Isang makalikasang hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon. Okay, we are blessed to be speaking at the holy hour. Kung kanina after lunch, ngayon naman, merienda time. So I'll give you 2 minutes to stretch while my presentation is being connected. I hope everyone is learning a lot from our first 2 speakers, from the DNR, from the BMB, and of course the DOT. We are here, although in a way, medyo outlier kami because we are amongst government agencies, but I believe that everyone has a role to play. And Miss Earth Foundation, I hope you will learn this afternoon, plays a unique role as well in this environmental advocacy. Good afternoon once again. I'm here with my colleagues to present to you things about the Miss Earth Foundation. Who among you knows about the Miss Earth pageant? Okay, perfect. It's actually good because now you can learn about it. The Miss Earth pageant has a tagline, Beauties for a Cause. Next slide, please. So Miss Earth started in 2001 here in the Philippines, and it was started by Mr. Ramon Monzon and Miss Lorraine Shook. They're basically in the pageantry industry for the past many years. I'm sure you know Miss Universe, Miss World. And then there comes Miss Earth. It's a homegrown pageant. So I look at it, whenever I see our boss, Mr. Monzon, I call him the Donald Trump of the Philippines. Kasi kung gano'n na lang kataas ang tingin nyo kay Donald Trump, ako gano'n ang kataas ang tingin ko kay Mr. Monzon and Miss Lorraine. So it's homegrown. And the mission of this pageant is to basically use it as a vehicle or as a medium to promote environmental awareness. When I won in 2006, it was such a big challenge for us to promote environmental advocacies. Climate change then was not as hot an issue as it is right now. Meron pa ang panahon na natutok kami noon, ang sinasabi sa akin, climate change, wala naman yan. And then, 3 years later, 2009, Ondoy happened. Gusto kong balikan yung nagtanong sa akin ng climate change ka dyan. Ayan ate, ito ang climate change. In 2001 to 2007 for Miss Philippines, so basically we have 2 pageants per year. First we have the local search, which is Miss Philippines Earth, and then we have the international search, which is Miss Earth. Next slide. So Miss Earth has been in existence for 15 years now. And Miss Earth is considered to be part of the top 4 pageants. So it's Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Earth, and then Miss International, and then the rest of the pageants. Miss Earth is considered as one of the top 3 because of its reach and the number of participants we have each year. Actually, minsan nga pag may ibang candidates na pumupunta dito sa Pilipinas to participate in the pageant, nagugulat din ako. It's a geography lesson for me. I never knew some islands existed or some countries for that matter. It started in 2001 with only 43 delegates. Yung organization pa yung talagang namimilit para sumali ibang candidates. But in 2007, we had 88 candidates, wherein we even had to refuse some for some reasons. And then last year, 85. In the past years, we've had the following winners. 3 are from Europe, 1 is from Africa, 7 from South America. Sabi nga nila, di ba, laging Venezuela or Brazil na nanalo. Pero syempre, hindi magpapahuli ang Pilipinas because for the past 15 years, we've had 2 Miss Earth winners already. Ironically, both from Cebu. Sino ba mga Bisaya dito? Why, yeah, talagang magaganda ang mga Bisaya. Later on, I will introduce to you the second and reigning Miss Earth from the Philippines. Next slide. The pageant probably, in your head, it's all about beauty. But Miss Earth, and I confidently say, is really different. Why? The process is different. 1, we have the usual pre-pageant activities like the national costume competition, swimsuit competition, evening gown competition. But in between those activities, malaki talaga yung binibigay naming weight in the participation of the candidates in different activities like charity events and environmental activities. When I entered the pageant, I knew little about the environment, except that I was an environmental volunteer prior to that. But there are a lot of things I learned a lot from the pageant, which really encouraged me to leave my dreams of going to law school and pursue an environmental career instead. It was such a big eye-opener for me, and talagang meron palang concern. And a lot of our winners and candidates as well pursue the path. Some even join because of their environmental advocacy. Wala talaga interest mag-beauty pageant. And that's the kind of people we attract in Miss Earth. Then we have the pre-judging. Insider secret lang. When we judge in Miss Philippines or in Miss Earth, walang makeup. So the judges get to see the candidates in their bare form. So we remove that layer of, you know, the makeup, the false eyelashes and everything. So we get to see them. And then the coronation night. Next slide. So here are our current winners for Miss Philippines Earth. We have several titles. Sa mga nagloloko na, ay siya Miss Earth, ako Miss Earthworm. Or Miss Earthquake, meron po talagang titles ang Miss Earth. In Miss Philippines, we have Miss Philippines Earth, followed by Miss Philippines Air, Miss Philippines Water, Miss Philippines Ecotourism, and Miss Philippines Fire. In Miss Earth, apat lang po. Earth, Air, unfortunately hindi wind, water, and fire. Next slide. And basically, our goal is to have each winner promote their respective advocacies. Fire being for energy, air is for the air quality we have, and land. Of course, Miss Earth will have the encompassing advocacies. Another aspect of the whole pageant is the Miss Earth Foundation. The Miss Earth Foundation, next slide, is focused on the advocacies of the candidates and the winners. And we have basic values that we impart the winners. Pag candidate ka pa lang, whether or not pumasok ka for the pageant lang or for the advocacy, we give to you these environmental 101 items. Number 1, kanina minasyon na ni Director Lim yung about invasive species. Sinong taga Makati? I really never knew that those trees in Makati before were indigenous trees. Yakal, malugay, syempre alam natin dapat nara. Yan pala yung mga dapat tinatanim natin. I learned it the hard way when I attended an event sa Congress and then we planted a tree sa Congress. And proud na proud pa kami kasi we made it to the front pages of Enquirer the following day. And then I get a phone call the following afternoon, the following morning. Cathy, I saw your picture in the front page of Enquirer. I said, thank you. Front page, Enquirer, hello. Eh kasi po yung first kong front page sa Enquirer, press presentation ng Miss Philippines, web ko yung pinakita eh. So, achievement na sa akin yung na pinakita ko nag-tree planting. I was so happy. And then the person on the other line started telling me, Cathy, you were planting mahogany species. Do you know? That was the moment I found out that we weren't supposed to be planting these species because they're actually invasive. Invasive meaning they take over the land. And sometimes they leave toxins in the soil that you cannot even plant decently a next batch of indigenous species. So, yun nga lang, there was a certain time na yun yung pinamimigay na seedlings, but now I'm proud to say that when you go to the nursery of the DNR, you have a lot of options and lahat po yun ay ang mga indigenous species na. So that's number 1. Number 2, pinakasikat na environmental effort ay ang mag-tree planting. Lahat kayo dapat, before we die, you should have at least planted 1 tree. Sabi nga nila, if you're a woman, the 3 things that you should do is write a story about your life, nurture a child, and plant a tree. Although, di pala ganun kabilis or kadali magtanim ng puno. We should know when, where, how, and the more important part of it is tree nurturing. Mahirap pinagtanim ka ngayon, kalimutan mo siya, bahala na siya kung mabuhay. And basically, this time is not the best time to plant trees. Number 1, El Nino, summer. Mas mataas po yung ating death rate, kumbaga, sa ating trees. Next, refusing to use plastic bags as much as possible. We have partnered with one of the biggest retail chains in the Philippines in the promotion of green bags. Yung green bags na yon, dami kong kwento. Nagsimula lang yon because I want to experience how it is to be a bagger in a supermarket. So, pinag-bagger ako. Ang wise naman itong partner ko, sabi, ay, meron kaming my own bag day. Cathy, pumunta ka. Sige, doon ako pumunta. Siyempre, yung mga customers nagagalit, sabi nila, hay nako, meron na naman kayo kasi you have to pay for the green bag. Or if you just use a box or whatever. Sabi ko, ay alam mo ate, sabi ko nga wag 2 pesos eh. Sabi niya, oo nga, diba? Dapat yung pabayad. Sabi ko nga gawing 20 pesos. Yung isang bag. Sabi niya, bakit naman? Because 2 pesos is nothing to you. But if you pay something of a more premium price, like 20 pesos for a bag, then you realize that you're paying for something you can actually live without. Diba? Kayo, kaya sana, pag nag-grocery kayo, is either bring a bag or ask them to put it in a box. Kasi pwede naman yun eh. May option naman na gano'n. And then also, drinking with straws. Napakalaking pet peeve ko yan. Ang mga taong gumagamit pa ng straws kung hindi naman kailangan. Umabot na ako sa point na kahit minsan nung nainom ako ng milk tea or frappuccino, hindi na ako nagsastraw. Tingnan na lang ako ng barista or na nagbibenta, "Ma'am, paano mo iinumin yan? Kaya ko to." Okay, and the next point is, we're not really saying that you should go from plastic to paper. It's all about reusing the stuff that you use. Kasi po, ang paper production, it also has its own environmental impacts. So you produce paper or you produce plastic, meron pa rin yung footprint, carbon footprint. So we encourage you to reuse. Next slide. Alright. Next. Recently ko lang actually to discover. Have you seen those dolphin paintings around? Yung sa mga murals? You know what's the rationale behind it? This one person, his name is A.G. Sanyo. He watched the movie The Cove. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it. Pagkatapos niyong manood ng Pacquiao, makikita niyo ang totoong laban pagdating sa ating mga marine resources. Back. Ayan. Basically, he promised that he will paint one dolphin for every slaughtered dolphin every year in Japan. And when we saw this movie and saw how brutal the practice is, one very famous marine park came to Miss Earth and offered to be our sponsor. But we politely declined them. Because when we saw what is being done to bring in marine animals, especially dolphins, into the country, we just felt that it wasn't a practice that we want to support. So we don't do that. As well as, of course, eating, consuming products that are harvested in a different manner. And then last, of course, we are very strong supporters of the advocacy of the DENR and DOT, of the ecotourism campaign. In fact, the theme of this year's Miss Earth is about ecotourism. And we believe on the Mountaineers' motto, "Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and kill nothing but time." Next slide. Throughout the years, we've had so many partners from the private sector, even the government agencies. Sa Director Lim, sawang-sawa na siguro sa mukha ko dahil lagi kaming partners with the DNR and its different attached agencies. So a lot has been done, but I admit that one of our weakest points is about PR. A lot of things are being done, but maybe not a lot of you have been hearing about it. But sa amin, okay naman kami because we know that things are being done. Next slide. Let me show you some pictures of our campaigns throughout the years. So this was taken in 2007 when we encouraged people to go back to the old practice of bringing bayongs when going to the market. Next slide. Ayan. This was taken during, after one election. Naalala niyo po yung election na super daming tarpaulins. Now, hindi na namin alam ang gawin, so we partnered with a group to help recycle and make use out of them. Some of them made aprons, some of them made bags, hats, etc. Next slide. Yan. Hanggang ngayon, wala pa naman tayong law that prohibits plastic bags. However, there are a lot of LGUs na nagpo-prohibit na po ng paggamit. One of the first ones, of course, is Muntinlupa. Doon talaga na meron nakapaskil sa unahan. Sa Quezon City, recently lang yun, I think 2 years ago, meron sila nakasulat na bring your own bag. Pero may mga tindahan pa rin nagbibigay ng plastic. Kaya kayo, pag binigyan kayo ng plastic, i-lecturean nyo rin sila. Nakita na nga, meron na nakasulat. Sabihin nyo, di ba meron na tayong i-implement na batas? So let's enact, let's practice the law. Next slide. This was taken after another election at sobrang dami pong basura ang nakuha sa isang school. Sana, sa susunod na sa darating na election, may our candidates be more responsible. Okay, next slide. Recently, we had the Earth Day Bike Parade and the Summer Cycling Convergence. We're also very big supporters of this advocacy of road sharing and of course, against air pollution. Matagal ko na po actually pangarap mag-bike to work. Kaso ilang beses na po ako muntik masagasaan ng truck. Pero hopefully, di ba si Pinoy, at one point, I saw him riding a bike within the Malacanang compounds. And hopefully, if not within this term, maybe the next president will help us push for this advocacy. Kasi napakarami na pong nagbabike ngayon. Lalo na yung mga kababayan natin na dahil sobrang mahal na ng pamasahe, o ngayon, nagsarado pa yung PNR. Talagang meron talagang clamor para magkaroon ng alternative forms of transportation. Next slide. If you want to take part in these activities, on November, we'll have a big ride again. We'll have the Tour of the Fireflies. I think the biggest ever Tour of the Fireflies, nagkaroon ng more than 10,000 contingent. It will be so meaningful for you to be part of that event. Next slide. Yan, sa Makati. Next slide. Ayan. For me, one of the strongest messages na ginagawa ng Miss Earth is also to say that we are here to show you that we will trade our high heels for rubber boots or rubber shoes to show you that going green is glamorous and cleaning is a very good thing to do. Ito parang ginagawa namin siyang initiation ng mga candidates namin. This was taken during a coastal cleanup activity at the Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat. Ang nakakalungkot dito sa area na to is, kanina, nabanggit ni Director Lim, it's a protected area. Kailangan siya alagaan because this is a site for migratory birds. Meron din siyang napakalaking mangrove area. But the thing is, syempre pag tumaas yung tubig from the Manila Bay, pagbaba ng tubig, may iwan yung basura. Yung mga kasama natin from PNP, halos araw-araw sila naglilinis. But kung doon lang maglilinis, walang mangyayaring pagkakaiba. But if we control the wastes we produce every day, then maybe we don't have to do this every day. Next slide. Ayan. Sana po makita-kita tayo sa September po, sa 3rd Saturday of September, ang International Coastal Cleanup Day, and we hope to see you there. Libre pong pa-picture, wag po kayo mag-alala. Next slide. Ayan. This was taken during one of our trips to Mindoro. Alam niyo po, ang Mindoro ay isa sa mga probinsya na pinupush talaga ang ecotourism. Because one alternative, actually hindi nga alternative eh, isa po sa mga industriya sa probinsyang iyon ay ang pagmimina. And we believe that there are other alternatives which can be as, how do you call this, as beneficial in terms of financial returns, which is ecotourism. Ayan, mangroves. Next slide. This picture was taken recently. Ito po ay sa Ipo watershed sa may Bulacan. It's actually the bigger reservoir. Yun po ang pinanggagalingan ng tubig natin from La Mesa watershed. And that, for this specific storytelling session, we decided, I together with the UP Mountaineers decided to go up to a Kaingin site and give the story there. Sabi ko sa mga bata, bago ako nagsimula ng kwento, ano ang ibig sabihin ng kaingin? Taas ang kamay. Pag po nagtatanim po kayo ng halaman, yun po ay kaingin. Kaya tama po ang kaingin. Sabi ko, wow. You know, these experiences teach us a lot of things. Baka along the way, meron na palang ibang nababahaging mensahe ang mga adults sa mga bata. Akalain nyo, tama pala ang kaingin. Kami pala yung mali kasi sinasabi namin sa kanila na mali ang kaingin. Next slide. And this is one of the biggest projects of Miss Earth, and that is the I Love My Planet Earth School Tour. We believe that we can do a lot of changes if we start with the children, especially in the school or even in different communities. Alam niyo po, meron po tayong batas. Meron tayong Environmental Awareness Act. Yun po ay noon pang 2009. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, nagkaroon na po yun ng IRR 2010 or 2011. And that basically mandates our education system to include environmental education in the curriculum. But I learned along the way that with our current education system, it's not that easy to just include subjects for one. And number two, yung as-is nilang sistema, yung mga public schools po natin, yung iba ang shift sa eskwelahan, 6 to 10, 10 to 2, 2 to 6. Teacher nun, sa isang araw, 3 session, isa lang. Where will they get their energy to add another subject? And in our little way, the Miss Earth Foundation helps in doing that by going to different schools and communities, not only here in Metro Manila, but all over the Philippines, to help teach kids about different topics about the environment. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. So ito po yung mga pictures along the way. And because of the success of that program, it has been replicated not only here in the Philippines, but also in our different partner Miss Earth countries. So currently we have over 90 participating countries all over the world. And kami naman po sa Miss Earth, hindi naman kami nagmamagaling na alam namin yan, kaya namin tapatan ng different NGOs like Greenpeace or WWF. They are our partners, but we cannot say that we have the same expertise. So we help bring down the information that we get from these organizations and from the government to the level that can be digested or that can be understood by the youth. Next slide. Yeah, this was in Indonesia. Next slide. This was in Finland, where 30,000 students with their parents and members of the committee gathered for the environment. Next slide. Ayan. This is also another partnership with the government, Be Bright campaign. Naalala niyo pa ba yun? This was done under the term of Secretary Almendra's Bright Now. Yeah, next slide. And this was during the United Nations Climate Change Conference back in 2007 in Bali, Indonesia. Next slide. This was taken in China, where I was given a chance to share with the participants how Miss Earth is employing new strategies on disseminating information about forestry. Sa lahat po nung nagsalita, talagang lahat, kahit ako nagtaka, anong role ng Miss Earth in forestry efforts? But then again, it was interesting because that's when I realized that kailangan talaga maging creative ka when you have an important message that you want to share. Next slide. Next slide. This is another community. So apart from environmental efforts, we also do outreach activities. So nung Yolanda, nung Ondoy, different events like that were there. Next slide. So up to date, we have gone to 200 schools and communities both locally and abroad. Over 250,000 individuals reached. And these are only a few of the countries who are replicating what we're doing. India, Guam, Colombia, and Switzerland. Next slide. For several years, we also aligned the pageant in different international celebrations. Like in 2010, International Year of Biodiversity, where we also partnered with the Office of Director Lim in helping educate the girls about the different biodiversity species in the country. 2011 was International Year of the Forest, and 2012 was International Year of Sustainable Energy for All. So we used the pageant and the candidates for their advocacies to share what are their insights in terms of environmental protection. Next slide. Sige nga, since our topic today is about the protected areas and our natural resources, what is this? Okay. Keep your score, ha? Sige. Okay. First, this is the space. Philippine Eagle. Alright. Okay, next. This is one of my favorite species here in the Philippines. Sino makakahula? Meron daw 14th month bonus. Natawa sila kasi parang talaga hindi mangyayari. May makakahula ba? Pugo? Alright, very good. Space. That is a Negros bleeding heart. Di ba ang ganda ng ibon? Literal, kasi parang nagdudugo ang kanyang puso. Next slide. Sino to? Alright, very good. 2 years back, we went to a conference where we featured Lolong. See, we are promoting the Philippines as the land of the giants. Nakakatuwa nga sa Pilipinas because we have the biggest and the smallest. Unfortunately, Lolong went to the other side. And to date, Lolong is the world's largest crocodile in captivity. For the time being, siya na na-capture. Next slide. Ito. This is fairly new. This is one of the newer heritage sites na promote. And if I'm not mistaken, last year sabi ni Mayor ay pagbubuksan na nila to the public itong area na ito this year. Guess where? 15th month bonus na ang nakasalalay dito. Okay, space. This is Mount Hamigitan. Kanina binimension na ni Director Lim ito. The nice thing about this place, sa Davao po ito, it's known for its pygmy forest. Anong ibig sabihin ng pygmy? Ibig sabihin, meron silang centuries-old trees which would grow up to 2 to 3 meters or feet. Meters high. Mababa lang siya, pero sobrang tanda na ng mga species na yan. So this should be part of all our bucket lists here in the Philippines. Next slide. Okay. Yung kaninang pinakita ko sa inyong species, I would just like to stress that it's really important when we do tree planting activities. Hindi lang dahil sinabi ng boss natin na dapat tayong magtanim at kailangan natin na environmental activities, but also by protecting our forests, we protect the species who live in it. And this is one of our first tree planting activities na talagang sabi namin, indigenous dapat ang itanim. Next slide. Where is this? Very good. Tubatahari. Nasa ano ko rin yan? Nasa to-do list ko rin yan. Next slide. Kanina nabanggit ni Director Lim about the efforts of the Philippine government. The thing is, here in the Philippines, ano kasi tayo transit point. So yung mga galing sa Africa, dumadaan sa atin, pupunta sa iba't ibang bansa. In 2013, nagkaroon ng event na to because the Philippines is a signatory to the CITES, meaning we are against the trade of such materials. And these ivory tusks, galing po yan sa elephant. At buti sana kung pagpuputol ng ivory tusk, parang pagpuputol lang ng kuko. Hindi po. A lot of the times, the elephants are killed for their tusks and then bahala ka na sa buhay mo. This day, they were able to crush more than 5 tons of elephants. Huwag yun natanongin yung value kasi sobrang laki talaga ng value niya. So a lot of people are angry about the situation, but you know what you can do? Stop buying items made out of ivory. As easy as that. You stop the demand, they stop the production. Next slide. Alam niyo ba kung gaano katigas yung mga ivory tusks? Hindi po kinaya ng, anong tawag na? Pison. They had to properly incinerate it to do that. We also have a partnership with Inquirer where we do the read-along program. Ayan, next slide. And the tagline of the Miss Earth Foundation is to set a legacy for beauty and responsibility. And we are proud to say that we are not, sige na, sila na lang. They are not just beautiful faces, but they are women who are responsible enough to carry the message of Mother Earth. Next slide. And I'd like to share with you some batch projects. Ako talaga nung nanalo ako, and together with my batch, may sabi namin, hindi matatapos ang reign natin na wala tayong ginagawa. And so we came up with this book. It's entitled Bakawan. It's published by the Adarna, and it's part of the Bright Minds Read program of the Department of Education. It's being used now in different elementary schools, not only to teach about the environmental values, but also for reading and comprehension. So batch 2006 po yan. Next slide. Batch 2007 naman, nag-promote din sila ng reusable bags. So they came up with their own line. In 2008, next slide, they embarked on a 20 KOK tree planting challenge. They planted 20,000 trees in Albay, Dipolog, and Zamboanga. Next slide. In 2009, after Ondoy, we produced a short film. It's entitled Project Noel. And it won a special jury prize from DepEd Cine Pambata. And believe it or not, nanalo kami ng FAMAS. Sana pala pinasok siya sa Oscars, baka manalo din kami. But this is basically a nice tool for us to use to children, especially a lot of children are very visual. They just want to watch. Next slide. In 2010, we partnered with an organic line of products to push for their passion fruit farming. Kasi sa mga babae, sino dyan mga naka-red lipstick? Patingin? Conservative. Alam niyo ba na ang karamihan ng red lipsticks are full of lead or carmine. What's wrong about carmine? Carmine is derived from crushed bugs. So hindi po yun maganda sa balat. So this line of lipsticks use only passion fruit oil, and the color is derived from natural methods only. Next slide. And then in 2011, pumunta po kami ng Polillo Island. Wala palang kuryente yung islang pinuntahan namin. And it was interesting. It gave us a different insight about life. And this year din po kasi yung pinopromote namin ng International Year of Sustainable Energy. And we went to the community to promote solar energy. At surprisingly, mahirap talagang mag-convert ng mga tao. Nagbabayad po sila ng 900 pesos para gumamit ng gas para pang gasera. Pero ayaw nila magbayad ng 400 pesos panghulog sa solar light. So yun yung naging challenge. So it's an ongoing challenge. But before we were able to leave the island, pumayag naman yung ilang pamilya. Noong nagsimula kami magbukas na isang bombilya, talagang buong isla lumapit. Kasi first time nila makakita ng ilaw. Minsan kasi meron silang generator, papalabas sila ng pelikula, lahat na yun, bata, matanda, ang palabas po, si mga Robin Padilla, ganyan, mga action. Kaya mga 3-year-olds, bugbugan, at kung ano-anong dapat hindi nakikita ng mga bata, napapanood na nila. Education is still a very important factor. Next slide. And for batch 2014, syempre hindi sila magpapahuli. Jamie will tell you more about it later on. Next slide. I believe that each one of us will be able to do something in our own special way. Number one, this is where Miss Earth comes in. Gusto namin mag-assist in terms of awareness, education, and information. And then, number two, I believe, is we should care enough to do something about it. Karamihan kasi sa atin, alam na, pero wala pa rin pakialam. And then the next step is to do something about it. We have different issues where we can come in. Next slide. On a personal note, I'd like to leave with you pakiusap. 2016 is elections, alam niyo po yan. And we hope that we'll get leaders who will make the environmental platform one of his or her priorities. Kanina in-outline po ng DOT and ng DENR yung potential ng environment. Not only in providing for our people, but also ensuring the security of the country. If we find a leader who will look at the environment as a big asset rather than a liability, then I believe that this country is on to greater things. Next slide. And I'm here to tell you that Miss Earth has been here for 15 years. We have been partnering, reaching out to different government agencies, private institutions, because we are here to help. We are beauty queens and we want to use that title in a responsible manner. Sabi nga ni Spider-Man, di ba? With great power comes great responsibility. And we don't wear the crowns and the sash just because. We want to be people who matter, and we do that by living up to the title of being Miss Earth. Next slide. Right, so here are information just in case you need more information. Now I'll turn you over to the current Executive Director of the Miss Earth Foundation, AJ Mira, for a lot more insights. Thank you.
Okay, so a bit of my background is I'm also Miss Earth last year with Jamie, and I was one of the semi-finalists, and now I'm the current Executive Director of the Foundation. So, here's the Miss Earth Foundation. What is the Miss Earth Foundation? So, after every Miss Earth wins the crown, they will work under the foundation to serve the people. And it's not just about beauty. So, okay, please, next slide. So what is it about? There's problems. I only bow down to 4 things to make it easier. Problem, solution, action, prevention. But if you notice, prevention should have been the first, right? Right? But then, you know, we have problems now. Next slide, please. Okay, so what are we facing? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a lot. Human overpopulation, biocapacity, carrying capacity, exploitation, industrialization. Read more, read more, read more. Is your head going berserk? More, please. Next slide. And more, please take a look. If I discuss all of that, it's not, you know, it's gonna take the whole day and even a week for that. Please continue. And now it's just too much. Okay, so that's our environmental problem. Next slide, please. Okay. How did all this happen? So it's actually all about compounding reasons. It's in our everyday actions. A while ago, Miss Lim was talking about protection, protected areas. But the question is, who are we protecting it against? Who are we protecting it against? Us. Humans. Isn't that weird? We're so weird, no? I'm protecting myself against you. I'm protecting myself against me. Because we're the ones who's destroying it. And for 4.54 billion years of the Earth's existence, we destroyed it for only 100 years. So imagine the whole existence of the world. We're only less than a second, and we just destroyed it in a snap. And to repeat, how did this happen? It's in our everyday life actions. Next slide, please. Okay. Please don't forget the 4 things. I really summarize it for that. Problem, know the solution, act on it, and then continue on preventing, maintenance. So the problem is our habits of distraction. Let's not make it complicated. So what's the daily human activities that we do? So what do we do every morning? We wake up, right? We check our phone. How did we go to the soil pollution, everything, the ozone depletion by just waking up, checking our phone? How did we come to that? You're just one person, right? But it's compounding. If every person in the world continues to do that. Let's say you wake up, you check your phone. If you check your phone, you use energy. If you eat, what happens if you eat? You prepare your food, right? Waste, again. You use weight, you go to the toilet, another waste that produces methane in the air. Okay, does it make sense? Yeah? So you bathe and brush, you use chemicals that goes to the drainage, correct? And imagine billions of people around the world doing the same thing. And we have pollution, and then we wear our clothes. You think it's just wearing clothes, but then the process of wearing clothes, it's not made of 100% cotton, so it doesn't diminish anymore. Okay, it has plastic. And then we fix our hair, we use spray nets. And that's bad for the environment too. And then we leave our house, we use transportation, that goes for air pollution. We go to work. When we go to work, what do? We use our pen, paper, right? So in our everyday actions, that's where it starts. So when we go to work, I want to add, for the investors here, like I think Cathy was saying, for example, you invest in stock market, invest in a company that, like example, against mining, something like that. So know about it. And then add daily business, industrial operations. So, okay. Please, next slide. Okay. So the solution is habits of conservation. It's as easy as being mindful of what we do every day. So, like the campaign of Miss Jamie, she's gonna expand it. It's a think twice. The problem is in our everyday, so the solution is also in our everyday actions. So all we have to do actually is to change our lifestyle. It's not about what you do, it's how you do it. Like for example, we eat. Food preference. Should we go organic? Should we buy Filipino product? It's just buying, okay, buying in general, but should we buy a Filipino product or another country's product? Small things matter, compounding reasons. And then it's environmental habitude. Like Cathy is not using straws. And another environmental habitude I want to show you is this one. I use this glass, and we're partnering with corporations, right? Look at this, it has lipstick. So some companies actually don't want to serve water. Why? Because it takes 3 more glasses to wash 1 glass of water. So one of the environmental habitudes you can do is after this one, you wipe your lipstick for the ladies. You will really help a lot. So really, it's in our everyday habits. Next, please. So now you know the problem. Now you know the solution. What's the action? The action is the power of we. In the society, there's 3 sectors. Government, authorities, the business industries, the NGOs, us. Okay, now Miss Earth is, you have a pointer? So, Miss Earth, we're already tapping the Filipino people, we're already tapping the world, and now we're partnership with businesses, industries, organizations, but we really need the government's help for the systems, you know, para, let's say, the business industries, strict regulation of everything. Next, please. Okay, so the action, our working projects. One of our working projects now, as Miss Earth, is it's working accreditation to instruct. So we're not just beauties for a cause, we're now intelligence for a cause. The delegates of Miss Earth, because we have so many delegates around the world, they're gonna be accredited to teach and lecture people because we go around school tours and now universities. So in coalition with Foundation for the Philippine Environment, DNR.ed educational institutions. So you're welcome to become one of instructor too. So that's one of our working projects. Next, please. And another project that we have for Miss Earth Foundation, something to look forward to for the foundation, is our Earth Angels. It's a band for a cause. So now we have our own Spice Girls. So please support us with that. It's in our 15th year. And then third one is our volunteer program. It's True Beauty is in the Heart. It's not just us. Kasi my question is, how many Miss Earths are there in the world? How many are chosen to be here? And if we do tree planting, just us, we're not enough, right? So this one, everyone is welcome to participate. I mean, the solution's already there. All we have to do is strengthen it, correct? So, yeah, you can come with us and do our tree planting projects, coastal cleanups, and I hope to partner with every individual. Next, please. Okay, we need you. This is our fight. I always say this, time is running, the earth is dying, we have to do something. The question is, when? Okay, when will we start? Should we wait and settle and stop because it's hard? We can always complain, play the blame game, but in the end, if we stop fighting, we're all losers. Sorry for the term, but it's true. Rich and poor will be one. The powerful and powerless will both suffer. I think you all agree in that, right? I mean, it's funny because as a young professional, I bought my own car. And I was enjoying it. Oh, I have my own car. But in the end, it's so traffic, I can barely move. So it's becoming useless too. You know? So we'll suffer. Because we only have one land, one home, one planet. We're only one people created by one just God. By what I say just is the natural law of this world is in cause and effect. Even though you're a good person, you do something bad, you have the natural consequence. So it's really just. Next, please. So let's do this. We will not stop until we get your support. We will not stop until the public and the entire world lives for change. Sorry for the typo. So please email us. If you have, you can email me at ajmira.official@gmail.com and tell me more about what you think, how we can help the environment. And so, thank you so much. That's it. I'm gonna give the floor to Miss Jamie Herrell, our Miss Earth.
Alright, thank you AJ Mira, and hello and good afternoon everyone. My name is Jamie Herrell, and of course, as you know, my sash and my crown. Ironic, right? I'm Miss Earth 2014 and I represented our country during the international pageant of Miss Earth. But before anything else, are you guys still awake? Yes! Okay, I promise I'll make this as quick as possible so you guys can do whatever you want, like sleep or go to a Katy Perry concert tonight, which is happening in the Philippine Arena, which I'm going to later. But anyways, okay. First of all, I would just like to say sorry. I mean, I know I'm wearing some sort of a gown in this type of business area, and at the same time I did not bring a PowerPoint unlike our other speakers today, so please bear with me. If you really want an image to look at, you can just look at my face. Alright, at least I got you guys awake. Now, I'm gonna be a little bit selfish right now and tell you about my life story. Now you may be wondering, what does this really have to do with the environment, our advocacy for Miss Philippines Earth, and even with the DOTNDNR. Well, here's the thing. At age 11, I moved to the United States. I actually lived in Cebu City. And being a foreigner, even though if I'm half American, they bullied me. You'd be surprised by my body and my face. That before I was shorter and I was big, really big. I had short hair, I had problems with my face in terms of my skin, and people didn't want to be friends with me. And some of them even asked if I spoke Chinese, because Philippines is in Asia, by going out of topic. But even despite all of that, I still see a better future. So even despite I was being bullied, and people looked down on me, I still worked. And I didn't mean just work in studying. I didn't just mean in work in terms of getting high grades so that my lunch money will be raised. Yes, because I really love the $2 pizza in the cafeteria. But I also mean in terms of charity, in terms of environmental activities. And I'm not saying this because I'm wearing this sash. I really did the work. But for some reason, I only saw a little part of the world, which is only happening in our school. I only saw a certain amount of people who were actually doing environmental activities. Even in terms of helping kids who don't know how to read and write, who can't hear, who don't have money. So then, of course, that's all I really saw the whole time I was in the United States. I only saw that little part of Creekside Middle School in Florida County and Port Orange County of how many people were actually working. Only very few students. So then, after a while, because my dad was sick, I moved back to the Philippines. And when I came here, school was so much harder, especially Filipino class. And I was just a regular high school student, and then again, people saw me again as a foreigner. Sad, right? Never accepted. Just kidding. But when I came back here, all I kept on thinking was, how come my schools do not do environmental activities? How come my school doesn't even at least segregate trash? How come my school serves unhealthy foods? Now, even though this is really sad to say, there were some parts of the United States that I saw that I wish Philippines could have, and vice versa. I wish we had better beaches in America, just like here in the Philippines. So then one day, when I graduated college, when I graduated high school and I was going to college, I saw my school doing a little bit of work, but it wasn't that full force. And I told myself, I want something like what I did in the United States, even as a student, to come here to the Philippines and make a big difference. Get children to notice what's going on around the world in terms about our environment, in terms about children who need help, that are screaming for like a difference in the world to happen here in the Philippines, to happen in my school. And this is how I started to know about Miss Earth. One day, the short-haired chubby girl just went home from school and turned on her TV. And I saw all of these beautiful women walking. As I recall, it was 2012, Miss Earth Teresa's time. She was the winner in 2012, Czech Republic. And I thought to myself, wow, there are more pageants than just Miss Universe. And I said to myself, what is this? I thought, I can actually say before, I used to be a skeptic of beauty pageants. I thought beauty pageants was just about women looking tall, beautiful, and smiling all the time. And probably a little bit of modeling and commercials, doing commercials on the side. But then when I saw Miss Earth, I saw a different light towards beauty pageants. I researched about it. And then that's the time I not only found out about Miss Earth, but I also found out about other beauty pageants. But this one just really intrigued me. Why? Number one, it is actually based here in the Philippines. It started here in the Philippines. Number two, for only at that time, let's say 13 years or 12 years of existence, it was already part of the big 3 pageants in the whole world. And number 3, and most important of all, it had an advocacy. And it really tries, and it does live up to its advocacy, which is helping the environment. And at that time, I never really joined beauty pageants. Of course, short hair, big, skin problems. But I told myself, you know what? This beauty pageant really exudes actual beauty. And if I were to ever join a beauty pageant, it would be Miss Earth. And it was just a random thing in my head, and it apparently happened. And why am I telling you this? Because Miss Earth reaches out to people who want to make a difference. And by the way, we also have quad media. So, you know, modesty aside, I just want to say that we really reach out to everyone. And now, I've seen 85 beautiful candidates, 86 including myself, take down, no, beautiful, competing for the crown. Why? Not because they want something on their head, but because they want to make a difference. And I thought I was only one of the few in the whole world that wanted to make a difference. But no, there's so much more people around the world. And this gives me an opportunity to change people's lives. But I also put inside my head that my crown doesn't make me who I am. I am what makes of my title. So that's why, when I was crowned as Miss Philippines Earth, I started this environmental advocacy with my reigning queens, my elemental court. Miss Air, Fire, Water, Ecotourism. What's the 5th one? Wind? No, I'm just kidding. Earth, of course. Called the Think Twice campaign. And we do school tours and we do environmental seminars to teach people on how we can simply think twice in helping the environment. Not just once, but twice. And we even have this little cute gesture like this. So when we take pictures, we pose. I heard somebody said, yeah. Now, all we just tell them to do is to find alternatives in their everyday lives to help the environment by lessening our carbon footprint. Like for example, the Miss Earth Foundation promotes biking for a cause. And why is this? For a few reasons. It brings the community together, it makes you have a more sexy body, and most of all, it lessens our carbon footprints. Why would you take a car from point A to point B? Take note you're from point A, okay? Point A to point B, when it's very near each other, why would you take a car? What is the point? You're just going to be wasting gas, you're going to be wasting money, and you're going to be causing carbon emissions. Why not bike? Plant a tree. A lot of people want to plant a tree, but like what Ate Cathy said, it's not just about planting it there and then that's it. No, you have to know when to plant, what to plant, and of course, make sure to nurture it and let it grow. Think twice. And of course, so on and so forth. If you don't need water, turn off the faucet. And other environmental ways that we can think twice. Other ways we can think twice for environmental reasons. Sorry. And like what I said, Miss Earth, not only that we spread awareness, and we are in quad media, but at the same time, we do other environmental activities such as tree planting, bike for cause, and we even promote ecotourism here in the Philippines because we know it is a key to poverty alleviation. Like as the two mentioned earlier, we also went to Romblon, which I heard is the heart of the Philippines. And actually, one of my favorite ones that is, I think, nurtured in a project of Tito Boboy, Aluginsan. I've been there and it's very, very beautiful. I suggest you guys go to Cebu. And I'm not being biased because I'm from Cebu. So yes, this is what we do in Miss Earth. We spread awareness, we do the work, not only because of pictures, not only because we want to be known. No, we are doing this because we know we can make a difference with what we have. This sash, this crown, can help people come together as one and work together to make a difference. And one of the best ways is to make sure we keep our environment sustainable. Because how can we have a great community if we do not have a sustainable environment? So, I hope all of you will come join us and help us in the Miss Earth Foundation make a difference, because we can all do this together, not just for the Philippines, but also, of course, the whole world. Thank you.